Good morning, YouTube. This is Spooky47 Crypto coming at you with a non-crypto video, but it is something that really affects all of us, and that's oil prices. It is 8:30 in the morning here, and I am taking a look at a chart at USO. If you're not familiar with USO, that's an ETF on the New York Stock Exchange, which allows you to basically bet on the price of oil. It does this through futures contracts on their side, but you don't have to do anything with futures contracts. You can buy and sell this ETF or do calls and puts if you know options trading. In fact, I have an options trade on oil, a bullish one, call option for October of this year. So pre-market hours on this Monday morning, it looks like USO is up a little bit. And it's been holding this trend for as much as it's been all over the place. I think it's very difficult to trade on a short-term basis, but it's definitely in a bull trend. But the question is, how high is this going to go? And there was a prediction from a major investment bank that was suggesting that this could be $185 a barrel. In this article from March, JP Morgan was calling for $185 a barrel of oil if Russian self-sanctioning continues. So obviously we know the situation in Europe has unfortunately continued on, and that does affect global energy prices. So when I first heard this 185 call, I was like, well, that seems like they're pulling it out of thin air. But there was something that I went back and looked at, which I found very interesting that I think supports that call. If you look at this chart of U.S. oil, this is a monthly chart, so it goes all the way back to 2008. This is not the ETF. This is the actual commodity and what it was trading for at the time. This is back when it peaked out in 2008. And if you look at where the candle close was, it was roughly $139. Now there's a wick with trading up to 145, but for all intents and purposes, let's just use the top of the actual candle close itself, and that was 139. So when I hear 185, I'm like, so you're telling me it's going to blow past this all-time high here and keep going? And at first, I thought that sounded a little unlikely, but then I considered something. As we're all dealing with the impact of inflation, I'm like, you know what? Our buying power is not the same as it was in 2008. I mean, since 2020, the government, or I should say the Federal Reserve, has gone on a printing spree. The amount of money in the system has gone up exponentially. So I use this cool little CPI inflation calculator to tell me what was $139 from 2008. That was the all-time high of oil. What would that be worth in 2022? And sure enough, what does it come out to be? 186.65. So despite my skepticism, I think JP Morgan's onto something here, and we really could see $185 for oil. So even though it looks like it's blowing past the all-time high, and it is on the chart, something to consider is that when you account for inflation, we've already been there. So I think that's notable, and if the bullish trend in oil continues to hold, I think we're heading for that target. Now, when that happens, I don't know, and obviously there are things the government could kind of try to do to reduce the pressure here, and not just the U.S. government. I mean, the U.S. government's already said that they're opening the strategic reserve and releasing some oil from that, and then they've tried to talk to some other foreign governments that are in the business of pumping oil to basically increase their output. But absent of that, or even with that, if the trend lines continue, and we'll take a look at the trend lines real quick before we close this out, then I think this 185 target is quite likely, really. So here's the not U.S. oil. This is the regular oil chart. It's not USO, the ETF. And I'm showing you this one because you can see the trend lines a lot cleaner here for where we're headed. So this trend line ends out in September. So at least according to this trend line, I don't know that we would get there by the fall, but as winter comes, that obviously could put pressure on the oil markets if the situation in Europe has not been fixed by then. So it's hard to say when it's going to happen, but I think I'm convinced now that 185 is actually a sane target. So just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was interesting with considering what $139 in 2008 was and how it basically matched up perfectly with that CPI inflation calculator. So if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. You can follow me on Twitter at Spooky47Crypto. And in the comments, let me know. Do you think it's going to 185? Do you think it's going to a different? It will go past that. Will it start to turn around and go down? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Thanks for watching.